a lot of pieces. So what I'm going to do when I'm teaching you about piece movements is I'm going to cut back a lot. Now, hopefully all of the games that you play look like this. Well, you will be playing with the white pieces, hopefully, in this position. You're up 35 points of material. Let's start with the pawns. Pawns are worth 1 point. They only move forward. They do not move backwards. On their first move, pawns can go up 2 in one go, like this. However, after that, they can only move forward 1 square. If a pawn makes it all the way to the end of the board, you can promote it to a queen, a rook, a bishop, or a knight. Even if you already have the two knights, for example, that you start with, you can have a third one. One thing about pawns, the way they capture is not forward, it's diagonally 1 square. So, for example, in this position, the white pawn would, oops, sorry, wrong arrow. The white pawn would capture the black pawn like this. That would be the capture of a pawn. Okay? Now, there's one other bonus rule of pawns that I'll include here, just for the sake of including it. It will confuse you, and you might be tempted to leave this video, but that rule is called en passant. There is this special rule, I did not invent it, so please don't hate me, which looks something like a software glitch, and it goes like this. If an enemy pawn moves 2 squares, okay, 2 squares, and stands side by side with your pawn, you can take that pawn via something called en passant, in passing, only on this move. If you wait 1 turn, you can't do it, and it looks like this. You say, Levy, I'm only like 5 minutes into this video. You're already confusing me. I don't feel safe. Listen, it's just my rule. It's just my job to report the rules, okay? That's the only special rule about pawns, okay? All good? Terrific. Now, let's move to knights and bishops together, because those are called the minor pieces, and they're worth 3 points, okay? Bishops are very simple. They can go forward and backward, diagonally, on their own color. So a light squared bishop, that's how it moves. A dark squared bishop in this case would go all the way down here if it could, but it can go to any of these squares. It can go 1 square, 3 squares, whatever. Knights. Knights are the most unique. They move in little L's, so that would mean up 2 over 1, okay? Or up 1 over 2. So what does that look like? Well, that looks like this. 1, 2, turn. Or 1, 2, turn. Or 1, 2, turn. Or 1, 2, turn. Knights can also go backwards. And the cool thing about knights is they can jump over other pieces. So this knight doesn't have to ask permission. It can just directly move to this square with no issues. Now, of course, you can't take your own pieces, so don't try to do that. But it could go 2 and 1. Now, obviously, knights are a little bit slower, right? It would take a very different amount of time for these 2 pieces to get to the other side of the board. They're each worth 3. Rooks and queens are actually quite simple. No more fancy L's. Rooks go up, down, left, right, and they're worth 5 points in any direction that they want. So like this, like this, like this. Sorry, not in any direction that they want. I should say however much distance that they want to cover. Queens are like a rook and a bishop combined. Queens are worth 9 points, and they can go all the way here, 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 all the way this way, and this way. Whatever one of those squares that queen chooses to go to, it can go to. It is super powered. You want to keep the queen. It's your most powerful attacking piece, but it shouldn't do damage early, because you will be fighting against a fully loaded position. Last but not least, we have the kings. Kings are like queens, except they're kind of not at all. They can go in any direction that they want, but only 1 square. So